Jackie, his sister, was the one who tended to get in a lot of trouble when they were growing up. And Kevin was her protector. And when Jackie would get in trouble, he'd go to his mama, Mama, please don't beat Jackie. Please, please, please don't beat Jackie. Please, just don't beat her. And she said, and Jackie said, yeah, Mama, don't beat me, beat Kevin. And after graduating from USC, both Jackie and Kevin were in Columbia. They decided to share an apartment together. They were to share the chores also. Now, I don't know if y'all know, Kevin is a gourmet cook. And he has every cooking gadget you can imagine. And poor Jackie can't boil water. Kevin would prepare the most elaborate dinners and set the table absolutely beautiful. And at the dinner, he would remind Jackie, now it's your turn to cook dinner tomorrow night. Jackie got it covered. She went to the store and bought top-of-the-line frozen TV dinners and fed them to Kevin every other night. Reggie, his older brother, had to watch Kevin from time to time. And as older brothers, you really don't like to look out for your kid brother. But he was supposed to watch Kevin, not TV. Well, Reggie had it figured out. He'd watch Kevin. He'd get Kevin dressed for bed, say, Kevin, go turn on the TV. Kevin turn on the TV. He said, now go get in bed. Kevin go get in bed. Well, since Reggie wasn't supposed to touch the TV, Kevin, wake up! I need the channel changed. Come on, change the channel. Kevin would walk in, change the channel. Get back in bed, boy. You're supposed to be in bed. What you doing up? He'd go back to bed. Kevin, come turn the TV off. You know we're not supposed to be watching TV. So Kevin had to wake up, go turn off the TV. Nobody would ever get mad at Kevin for watching TV. At a very early age, Kevin knew what he wanted to do when he grew up. He knew he wanted to be a funeral director. Now with Kevin, practice makes perfect. And they always had a never-ending supply of goldfish. And so when one died, he had a funeral. Now, it wasn't the ordinary bathroom kind of funeral. We had a real funeral, okay? He went and got his little cousins, made them dress up. They did scripture, they did songs, they had a flower, and then they had to practice how to carry the coffin bowl. They had to practice that. And if they misbehaved, Kevin sent them home with a stern warning. He reminded them he was the boss. Would you please join me in welcoming the boss, Elder Kevin Thomas.
Good evening. I guess to get was up here talking. It's about like sometimes when you're ministering and you're waiting for the choir to stop singing, and you just be fueled. Well, I'm not like him. I'm not really a comedian or anything like that. But I just want to tell you, since Johnny was telling you some of my little childhood that I had almost forgotten. But these are some characters that you may not have heard of, but some people that were influential in my life as a young boy. You know, some unsung heroes. You got a lot of people that are alive and living every day in your community, and as you grow up, they are there, then they pass away or they move away. And you don't really, nobody really talks about them, but they're there in your community and where you're living at. Well, I had one particular lady who was a neighbor, and her name was Miss Pearlie Mack, and she lived across the street from me. Miss Pearlie Mack was in the age that was before ADT. Because, I say before ADT, because Miss Pearlie Mack knew everything. She knew when you were home, when you were away, whatever you did, Miss Pearlie Mack knew about it. Miss Pearlie was such, and she's a good person. She was nosy. Did anybody grown have some nosy neighbors? Well, Miss Pearlie Mack was a nosy neighbor. She went to church with us. We went to St. Stephen's United Methodist Church. And my aunt Theo, that I get my scholarship away for, she was like Miss Pearlie's daughter in a sense. Well, one day, when I was young, my brother, he was a meanie. And so he had a little BB gun, he bought a little BB gun. So he was playing with the BB gun. He was Miss Pearlie lived across the street from us, and it was a house next door to that. And I was over there playing across the street at the tree. And so my brother was such a meanie, he always wanted to tease me. So he was aiming at the tree, but sometimes when he was aiming at the tree, he hit me. So I fell out. I was real dramatic when I was young. So I was all crying, falling out and everything. My mama came outside and she was wondering, What's going on? What's going on? So I couldn't tell her because I was dramatic. I was just falling out because he shot me with the BB gun. Well, of course, Miss Pearlie Mack was on her porch. Miss Pearlie Mack started out her day with breakfast on the front porch because she wanted to know what the neighbor on the left, the neighbor down the street, she wanted to know what everybody was doing. You didn't need to go for the deal on her, just ask Miss Pearlie Mack. Because Miss Pearlie Mack knew what everybody was doing. She knew what time you got up, what time you came home for lunch, what time you left. Miss Pearlie Mack was there. So I'm hollering and everything. My mom would come outside, she wanted to know what happened. So she said, well, she came inside and said, what's happening, what's going on, what's going on? Oh, I'm hollering. All I can say is Reggie. And so, in the midst of me hollering Reggie, who was across the street? Miss Pearlie Mack. Miss Pearlie Mack told my mama that Reggie shot me with the BB gun. She said, well, he was aiming at the tree. My mom probably remember this. He was aiming at the tree, but he shot Kevin. So, let's think about Miss Pearlie Mack. Miss Pearlie Mack was the kind of neighbor that as you continue to grow up, and my Aunt Theo, she worked in college. She taught at Allen in South Carolina State. So her husband would come home, and since we lived next door, he would pick me up and take me. My parents didn't even know where I was. Like it was kidnapping or something back in the day. But he took me to pick her up from school. So nobody knew where Kevin was. My grandmother that lived next door, they didn't know where I was. Nobody knew where I was. But who knew where I was at? Miss Pearlie Mack. Miss Pearlie Mack was on time because Miss Pearlie Mack told my mother, Uncle James, he picked Kevin up, took him to Orangeburg and to pick up Theo. So that's the thing about it is, you didn't need ADT. Today everybody tried to protect their home. They put the signs out there so nobody will know. Don't come in my house because my house is protected. You know, sometimes they say, that's when the thief coming to get you. Because sometimes you may leave, you may not turn it on, or sometimes they just give you a sign to put in your yard to scare folks away. But this day and time, people aren't really afraid as much anymore. But good and behold, my neighbor, Miss Pearlie Mack, and so she told my mama that, my mother went off with my brother, and everything like that. But to have a neighbor like that today, you don't have to worry about ADT. Because she knew where she was doing and what she was doing. So as I got older, I love Miss Pearlie Mack, but as I got older, I started dating. And my mother-in-law went to this thing they used to call Dillon night. And so they were out of town. So, okay, I was dating. So I picked up my girlfriend. We was coming about, riding on home, riding everywhere. And we stopped back by my house. Well, I ain't know Miss Pearlie Mack was still on my porch. So she must have went in the house. Because I wasn't even supposed to be driving. But I'm young. I went to pick my girlfriend up. We coming back home. And so everything was good. We left. Everything was good. When my mama got back from Dillon night, what did this Pearlie Mack do? Kevin was in the house. Kevin was in the house. He had somebody in there with him. So I got grounded because Miss Pearlie Mack was on her job. Well, one thing about Miss Pearlie Mack, so she realized I got upset with her because of that, but she used to love to cook too. So she used to maybe know what $1 million pie is. Y'all made that $1 million pie? Okay, she was very, very good at cooking those pies. So with Miss Pearlie Mack, she called me over to her house, trying to show me some love, and she gave me one of those $1 million pies, and it was good. But I said one thing about her, she didn't go anywhere because she was kind of her legs was kind of bothering and everything. But one thing about Miss Pearlie Mack watched out for the neighborhood. My grandmother worked at the school, so she knew what time my grandmother went to work, and she knew what time she came, what time she left. So it's good to know like that. And I just want to tell you about Miss Pearlie Mack because she was one of the unsung heroes who protected the neighborhood. And nobody really never gave her credit. But she was protecting your home. She was protecting your children. And she was telling you what your children was good and bad. So when it's time for Santa Claus, Santa Claus, all he had to do was call Miss Pearlie. And Miss Pearlie would tell Santa Claus exactly who was good and who was bad. But I thank goodness for Miss Pearlie because my mama told my brother, my mother didn't play when I was little. My mother, you hear my mother, she would tell you to do something and you want to do it. Boy, you hear her walking down the hallway. I started hollering before she even got to me. So she even didn't have to do much to me because I was already hollering. But one thing about Miss Pearlie Mack was on her job. And another good lady that I liked when I was growing up. Oh, let me back up. Talk about my time I worked in tobacco. So, everybody bragging about working in tobacco and how it is working in the tobacco field. And I said, yeah, I work in the tobacco too. I knew this man named Mr. Irvin Bethea. He had this farm in the skillet. And he started picking my sister and my brother up and taking them out there to the skillet to work in the tobacco. So when people start talking about tobacco, oh yeah, I worked in tobacco. I was out there working all day, early in the morning, go to daybreak, getting up there cropping that tobacco. What I did with pig leaves. So I picked up leaves in the barn so I could sound like I did some work. I would tell everybody, yeah, I cropped the back. I was out there cropping the back. But you want to think about it is, it gave me the experience to work on a farm, because every morning about 5 o'clock he was taking Jackie and Reggie, picking them up, taking them out there to that farm and crop tobacco. So I wanted to go. I said, hey, I can do that. I'm going out there and crop some tobacco. So when I got out there, all I could do was pick leaves. When they doing them on the stick and everything like that, I was out there doing that. But that's another unseen hero. He had a farm out there in the Skillet, where they used to have the Skillet Fair. But he was a farmer. He worked in the church again. He's from St. Stephen. You ever heard of St. Stephen United Methodist Church? Some St. Stephen folks. A lot of these people went to St. Stephen's. But one of my favorite people, too, that kind of supported me when I was first got in the funeral business, this lady, she was like the Dylan Harold Wright. You know what I'm talking about? Miss Rose Elby Wright. One thing about Miss Rose Elby Wright, she was quick to mouth. She would talk like she was a tiny lady. But she was running. She about like Miss Wiggins. You know, you can't keep up with Miss Wiggins. Because she always on the go. She's always ready and able and energetic. I sometimes wonder how Mr. Carter even keep up with her. Because she's so on the go. But one thing about it is Miss Rose Elby Wright, she was a writer for the Dylan Harold. And for most Afro-American people, it was a social thing for Miss Wright to put you in her little column. So every time I think on Thursday, Miss Carter, whenever day it came out, she had you in that column, oh, it was good. Everybody know you because everybody from the north and the south, they read about you, and Miss Rosa Elby column. And so she used to put me in her column a lot, and I appreciated it, and she was good, and she was close to me. Everything I little had, she kind of came and encouraged me and stuff like that. So I'm in the funeral business. So of course, if I'm good friends with you, most funeral directors, if you're friends with a funeral director, they think they're going to get your body. Whether you know it or not, they're your friend, but if you die, your mama dies, so they think they're going to get your body. Because if they don't get your body, they want, what in the world happened? So if you got any friends, you friends with RL, you friends with Mr. Benny, or you friends with Miss Green, they think they're going to get your body. They're supposed to get your body. So just remember that next time you talk to RL or Mr. Benny, you know, or somebody, myself, or Miss Bartell, whoever, you don't think they your friend, but they think they're going to get your body. Well, anyway, this leads up to this. Miss Elby, she was such a good friend. I was writing about me in her column, and so her husband passed away. So I said, Miss Rose, her husband passed away. So I called her up. I said, hey, Miss Rose, how you doing? She said, fine. I said, I heard the husband passed away. And I'm her friend now. She said, pray for us. So I said, okay. I guess I missed that one. So that's one thing about it, is that I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I just want to share with you some unsung heroes in our Dillon community that some of you may have never known, you may have never heard of, but they were influential in their own right. It's people that you see every day, that know, but they're not in the paper, they don't want to be accolades in the church, but they're in your community, they're circulating, and these people are gone now. But I did bury Miss Pearlie Mack now, so she was my friend for nothing. But one thing about it is, when I was growing up, like she said, I just had a thing that I wanted to be a funeral director. So, like Johnny was saying, I can tell you, my dad always had little watch cases. So, as a child, when we had the goldfish would die, I would feel too bad to kind of just flush them down the commode. So, I had my little cousins, I would call them over our house, and I would line them up. And we were about 10 or 12, and some of them were 8 and 6. I line them all up and get them together, and we have a little funeral, we have a little choir, we have everything. Somebody didn't even know, but we just had them all together. I put them in line. We go out there, we have a funeral. I said, it was just something about, like sometimes you have an innate vision. It's inside, it's never really spoken, or it's just something that you grow into. So that's what we did, and some of that stuff I forgot about all the little things, but they can remember that today, how I had them in line. I guess I've always been a leader, because I was always kind of being in charge. But I think you know, you're growing up, and you can see these individuals, and you can remember them, and know that they influence in your life. That's when we continually every day influencing other people's lives that we don't even know, we don't even recognize. But I'm not going to be here long. I'm not going to let you get bored. You know, that's 4 minutes out. They say our attention span back and forth. And as a minister, I know when I'm talking, I can tell when I'm losing. You can be there and you can be insistent, but you slowly but surely rolling on the way. So you're looking to the left, looking to the right. You're trying, then you flip into your papers and trying to figure out what I'm going to say next. Am I losing? Well, Kevin Thomas is over. I'm gone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Next we have Miss Helen Wiggins is going to come and introduce her husband. She is the wife of Carly Wiggins, and she is also a photographer. If you see all the flashes going off up here, she does a great job with that. So, Miss Helen. And I'll give you your 5-minute warning.
Okay. Carly and I have only been married for probably about 12, 13 years, so I really don't have a whole lot, you know, but I listen to his memories. I like to record him when he's talking about the old days, growing up, when he lived on the, he was born and raised on the D.W. Buffet plantation out on Free State's what it's called now, the Higgins Road. Back then it was just route, you know. And then, but the little dirt road in front of that was where he was living with about a dozen other houses there, tenant farmers. But the thing about it is, Carly was an only child, so his dad was just a blacksmith there. But he told me a lot of stories, but one of them really sticks out, and a lot of you will remember this. October the 15th, 1954, Carly got up as usual and walked half a mile to his bus stop. He went to school in Latta. And the bus, he stood there at this abandoned house that Mr. Bethea kept hay in for the horses and stuff like that. And he waited, and the bus never came. But then the sky started turning real dark, and stuff started happening. And he got real scared. So he started running back to the house. The bus was not coming. And he ran back to the house, and when he came in the back door, his mother turned on the radio, and they were telling about, you know, Hurricane Hazel. And he just told that story several times, and how afraid he was at that age, you know, standing out there and no bus came, and there was that abandoned house and nobody around, and then when he got in the kitchen, he saw, he said there was a China bear tree in the backyard that he said he looked out, and the China bear tree came up out of the ground and just took a long sail over into a pasture and sat it right back down, straight up. But now I'd like to introduce to my husband, Carly Wiggins.
Well, I can't think of anybody I'd rather have introduced me than that woman stood right in the front row.
All right.
And I'd like to say, I think on behalf of these other fellows that have taken part in this event, that on a Tuesday night, Latta, South Carolina, we got a good crowd here, and we appreciate you folks coming. And to have such a beautiful facility that we have here at the Ellis Performing Arts Center, that we can have events, shows, and so forth, I think it's a great thing. little over, well, almost 12 years ago, I got the foolish notion in my mind that I wanted to write a newspaper article. I said, well, I'm going to seek